kind of joy to St. Lucians after all these years. Performing music that comes from a band that I down since the 80s.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. That's what good music does, you know, Boo. It doesn't die. It has a shelf life and lives on for generations.
Yeah. But I also want to commend all the other musicians too. DYP and everybody else who perform. All the guys who keep our folk music alive. You know, they did a tremendous job.
Yeah.
And why I want to appeal to St. Lucians to continue to support the music from St. Lucia, particularly the young people. There are a lot of young people doing a lot of good music in St. Lucia. We've produced a lot of good young writers, good young musicians, good young producers, and I want to really ask St. Lucia to throw their support behind them.
Yeah. So let's start there, Mr. Hinkson, because it's Music Month. November is Music Month. Perhaps many people didn't know. How can music be that gateway out for a lot of youngsters now facing many social challenges?
If you take me as an example, I grew up in what is now referred to as, well, I lived for a while on High Street, and then a few houses down from the Salvation Army there, and then I lived on Brockley Street, what is now referred to as Baccarat, and then we lived in Rock Hall. I moved from that to performing in the White House and playing Super Bowl. So I always feel there's hope for young people who want to get into the music industry, but I do think there are certain parameters that must be put in place to accommodate that success. Just give them the platform, and I keep saying all the time, all the incentives that are put in place for the banana industry and for tourism industry, put it in place for the music industry, because it is as big an industry.
It is as
in
big.
some cases bigger. And so if you can see the need to put all these incentives in place for tourism and all the other industries, what happened to the music industry? The music industry is driven by your own human resource. Nobody can take it from us. We can do it and we can control it. And every successive generation will feed into it and develop it. So incentivize it as much as possible, because what you're doing, you're incentivizing your own people. And you're going to get returns. Every other country is looking towards the arts to impact their GDP in a very profound way. The arts in England is a great percentage of the GDP of England, and the Chinese are looking to raise theirs. So I am in constant discussion with the Minister of Culture and some other government officials, like I've been doing for years. And hopefully, eventually, I will get the message home. I think it's going to happen. But we must incentivize the music industry and the rest of the arts, just like any other, that's like bananas and tourism.
Yeah. Until
that's ours.
Yeah.
It's all driven by your own people. So not to do it is to have a reason not to incentivize your people, so that they can grow and contribute in a more profound way to the economy of your country.
And there's no reason not to incentivize our people to contribute in a greater way.
Exactly. So I think it's going to happen. I have had discussions with the Minister of Culture, and I think that is where his mind is at. But sometimes these things
take a while.
The cogs in that thing move a little slowly. But I have every confidence that it's going to happen, because from my dialogue with the minister, I think he clearly understands.
Yeah. And you're speaking about, Mr. Hinkson, incentivizing the sector from all angles, from the level of production, studios, training for upcoming writers and musicians as well, and even export to get musicians into markets that are having difficulty now.
I think the situation we face with now is that, first of all, musicians don't make the amount of money that people think they make. If you go on tour, you work for US money. When you come back here, it's all right. But if you're a musician who functions here, there's not an awful lot of money that is being made. So we have to be very analytical about the areas that we incentivize. So, for instance, I do not think that I don't think that musicians, anybody should be paying import duties on recording equipment, because we want to make a statement in the music industry. And it's not by coincidence that Jamaica produces the most music in the world per capita. Jamaica has the most studios in the world per capita. So they produce music. Music is coming out of their ears. And Jamaica moved from mento to rocksteady to ska to reggae, and now they're winning Grammys. That didn't happen without a plan. So we have to incentivize. We have to remove import duty on recording equipment, remove the import duty on musical equipment. I'm paying duty on a guitar if I bring it into the country. And then we have to find ways and means, or rather finance some of the marketing of the music that is great out of the country. Last time I went to the Grammys, a friend was talking to me about a song that he heard me playing on, and he said to me, "Man, I heard you play it on a joint." The matter is, that's a heavy track. And I asked him the name of the song, he couldn't remember. And I asked him who sang it, he couldn't remember. All he told me was that, "I remember you playing an acoustic guitar and doing a scat solo on the song." And the song he was talking about was "Jaja love I and I to wake up in your arms." Perfect. Let me tell you, that's a great song that just didn't have marketing behind it, because there was no money put behind it to market it.
That song is that's the young girl Chris, is it? Yeah.
Bailey, she's a Bailey.
Yeah, Chris Bailey, correct.
That girl is a very good writer, and that's people at the Grammys talk. People have come to hear the best in the world at the Grammys, and they talk to me about a song from St. Lucia done by Chris Bailey. So, I think what we need here is to determine what has the international appeal, and we have to find money to put behind marketing these songs and position our music and our artists where the country is going to get returns. You know, I just had a case dealt with in the States through my people and an attorney, because one of these hip-hop guys sampled Show the World.
Ouch.
And these guys have access to the best things in the world to sample, and they chose Show the World from St. Lucia. So it says a lot. And that's a song that is maybe 30 years old. If we incentivize this industry in the right way, the returns are going to be far more than a lot of people think. And I'll tell you what too. The music, a lot of the music coming out of the Caribbean is not driven by bourgeoisie. It's grassroots people driving that thing. Grassroots people. And that way, where most of our problems come from, we say, from the grassroots people.
So you incentivize the music, you're actually incentivizing the grassroots, and at the same time
absolutely, because that's where most of the music comes from. Most of the music coming out of St. Lucia, that St. Lucians gravitate to. It doesn't come from any bourgeois people, you know. It comes from ordinary grassroots people. All the music we're running after Carnival, you think it come from Copper State? It comes from our grassroots people.
Yeah. So you anticipate, Mr. Hinkson, real social change and a real improvement in the social fabric if we see that real investment in the sector?
Absolutely. But I'll also tell you that we must underestimate the power of music. And we have to encourage our young people especially to write stuff that we have to let them understand that they can succeed without writing some of the stuff that they write that goes against the grain of a society that is civil. We cannot be. I grew up in an era where we were partying and dancing and having a good time. The song that spoke about love. Now it's the norm for young people to be dancing and having a good time and drinking and about songs that preach about violence. So something has gone wrong. Somewhere in our development, something has gone wrong that young people think that is all right. That's not all right, you know. Music is a very powerful medium. And if you use it to trivialize the ills of society, then we're going to have some problems on our hands.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't agree to random censorship, but we make a concerted effort to have the music going in a particular direction. Look at what has happened with Afro. It's has become some of the biggest music in the world. These guys are singing a lot of good stuff, a lot of good stuff. And having said that, I'm a little perturbed. I'm a little worried about what's going to happen to our Dennery segment, because we as a country have not totally embraced it because of some of the stuff the guys sing. But also there's a problem in that. I remember 5 years ago, we had a meeting with some of these guys. A lot of them, when I sat on CD board and I tried to explain to them that they have to get this music to evolve, because it will get static on them. And they need to sing about a broader range of subjects. Look at what has happened now. The African music has risen to the fore. It is probably the most popular music in the world right now. You have Neo, not Neo, Chris Brown, doing a whole set of collaborations with a lot of the African guys.
You have Rihanna, you have Beyonce, a lot of the big names.
All of them. Drake, Ed Sheeran. These guys doing a lot of collaborations with African music. When you listen to it, you will hear that a lot of the rhythms are the same thing we're using in the Dennery segment. So I think what has happened is that we've been caught with our pants down. We have not done sufficient to get the Dennery segment to evolve, and we have not invested in marketing the music sufficiently. And in addition to that, there has to be far more done to teach the guys about the business of the music, because we have some of these guys doing 13 million views. Streaming does not pay an awful lot of money. You get 0.00397% when you stream on things like Spotify. So you need to do a lot of millions of streams to come off with any substantial amount of money. Pharrell did like 6 million streams on Happy. He got $2,000. So the guys have to make money off live performances. But something is wrong, something is amiss, because the kind of money these guys are working for is not commensurate to the amount of views that they get.
Yeah.
So I believe there's something wrong with the way the machinery that drives the music industry sees the music. And I believe if the guys sing about a broader range of subjects and you know, work on the lyrics and so on, they will do better. Yeah. I mean, I just checked out a song with Kiddy. Kiddy has a song that he has like 20-something million views. I checked out some of the Bono Boys stuff, and I mean, the numbers these guys are getting are phenomenal. And it's not that our guys can't do it, you know.
Yeah.
We need to our compositional skill has to be improved in that area. I said before, we have a lot of good young writers, good young musicians, good young producers. But I believe that we need to have a discussion with the guys on the segment so they write lyrics that have a wider appeal.
It has longevity as well.
The same thing about. You can't be singing about a woman's bottom all the time. That's not going to work.
Lyrics
People get fed up with that after a while.
Lyrics with longevity, and Mr. Hinkson, you would agree that just prior to COVID, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, the Dennery segment was poised to do what Afrobeats is now doing, with the requisite support and that international focus on international appeal, but we were caught with our pants down.
Well, all the music suffered that same fate.
Yeah.
The Dennery segment could have, if it had not been for COVID, it could have have grown.
Yeah.
But I also believe that if the guys did not broaden the subject and did not improve on the musicianship in the songs, we suffered tremendously, because we cannot can't sing about the same thing all the time. And also, I think a lot of guys producing music are very good at the computer and know how to use a program, but you have a responsibility to improve on your musicianship. So when you produce a song for a guy, you can do things with it that makes it have a much wider appeal. And I don't know if it is that the guys are very keen on protecting their turf. I'm not sure what it is. But also, I must tell you, a lot of the guys on the radio, they too gravitate towards a certain kind of lyrical content, a certain kind of material. And that is not helping the guys doing the Henry segment.
Yeah.
So maybe we ought to sit and have a roundtable discussion and have a national discussion about what we do with this music, because it can do tremendous for the country.
Yeah.
But I believe now the guys have been caught with their pants down with what has happened with the Afrobeat.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these rhythms are similar. I mean, even the Jamaican guys have jumped on the Afrobeat thing. And I heard Damian Marley, great collab with one of them. I think it might have been, I can't remember if it's David, but a great collaboration. And if you notice, when you drive around here, normally you'd hear a whole lot of Jamaican music. Fellas blasting Jamaican music in the vehicles. What you're hearing now is a lot of Afrobeat. Everywhere you go, that's what's happening. Yeah. So we don't have the luxury of time in disturbing what we do with the Henry segment. We have to hurry.
You have to hurry and do it quickly. Let's go deeper, because in your introduction you said we cannot underestimate the impact of the music, and I know you said it on numerous occasions. You do not support carte blanche censorship. But what is the role of the artist? Because some people say to you, I am an entertainer. It's not really who I am. This art, this is my creativity. Where do we strike a balance? What's the role and responsibility of an artist in that scenario?
Well, the music is an integral part of who we are. So we can't say it's just my music, it's not me. If I choose to write a song that promotes violence, there's a certain thing about my character that permits me to do that, that drives me to do that, because I want to make money. But there's a certain thing about my character that does not tell me that I cannot be writing a song that promotes gun violence to my people. Because I might make money off the song, but what happens to the young people? What happens to the country? So it is always about character. But I also tell you, oftentimes what we want people to do are functions of economics. And that can sometimes cause you to move away from the person that you are, the character that you are. But once you do it, it means there has been a shift in your character. Music is always an integral part, or the arts always an integral part of who we are. It informs who we are. And so I think I might have told you so in the last interview we did. The music that people gravitate to says everything about the social and psychological dynamic of the people in any given era. If you like what you hear, then if it does not contribute to a civil society or to the civility of society, if it promotes gun violence and if it denigrates women, then you need to have a meeting with yourself to determine why you like that. because something has to be wrong.
Interesting perspective. It makes you want to just take a step back. And
we have to.
Yeah, and
we have to. Sometimes we have to take a step back and examine ourselves and find out. But why I like that song? This song is promoting violence, gun violence. Man, I read some lyrics from one of the guys who came here recently, and it's shocking. It's shocking. So we have to find out what is driving our people to gravitate to that. What is there in that to like? If you pump some bullets into a guy and you make it very graphic in music, what it is that can drive people to like that? And these are the questions we have to start to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
I think one of the mistakes we make, I've said so to every prime minister I've had access to, that after you've taken care of the infrastructure of the country, you have a proper education system, proper financial system, proper legal system, etc. You have to also pay attention to the psyche of the people you are leading. And you have to pay attention to what is shaping that psyche of your people. Because there are some things you might miss that might be profoundly negative for the society. So that is not something that we can take lightly and just overlook and busy ourselves dealing with infrastructure and the rest of the things that we consider progress, and ignoring the psyche of the people.
Yeah.
Because the human capital is the most valuable thing you have.
Yeah.
Because if it's not what it's supposed to be, we're in trouble.
Yeah. What stands out for me, several things, but you said that perhaps the artists are singing those lyrics because they're forced to make economic decisions through their craft.
Yes, that's what I said earlier on.
Yep.
It's often a function of economics.
Function of economics. I was paraphrasing. That was your exact words. A function of economics. But it's even more.
But I'll tell you what.
Go ahead.
Go on. Sorry, go on.
It's even more telling that you have the artist doing that, and then on the consumer end, you have thousands of people buying in. So it's been made so popular by the society, the various tentacles of the society, the media, the corporate partners, so much so that thousands of people attend these concerts. There's a deeper issue there.
There's a deeper issue. You must go and listen to an interview with Kanye West, and a lot of that is explained. People figure Kanye West is a crazy guy. This guy not crazy at all. I tell you what, my people don't want me to record straight ahead jazz, right? Because they say it's not popular enough now. So they prefer me to record smooth contemporary jazz. That's a function of economics. Okay? If you do some reading on who controls the music industry, who drives the machinery of the music industry. And if you get an opportunity, talk to the guys who are at the top about what they want them to record. Because it's difficult to get the people who have the money to invest in the music to put that money behind the music that is wholesome, that is good for our people. So there's a very insidious thing going on. People deem that to be conspiracy theory. It's not conspiracy theory, you know. These are facts. These are facts. The money, the people who have the money control what they put you in a position to tell you what kind of stuff they want you to write. And that is dangerous for us as a people. So our people who have money must put money into the music industry and into the arts, so that our people can produce what is best for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I tell you what, man, music is something that educates society. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So what you educate them with is important. Music, like I said before, you must never underestimate the power of music. It's a very powerful medium. And if we trivialize the use of alcohol, or rather the abuse of alcohol, and we trivialize gun violence,
abuse of women,
and we sell it to our people, our music, something is wrong. So we have to watch who's putting the money behind that.
Yeah, who controls the music and funds the music is a big discussion that this platform now doesn't allow for us to properly dissect. But you made the...
No, it does not. I understand that.
Yeah, but
it doesn't take much to... It doesn't take much to find the information.
Absolutely. And I have...
And it's been going on for... This has been going on for some time. You know? This is not a recent thing, you know.
Yeah.
This is not recent. This has been going on for a long time, you know. I'll tell you what, man. If you give people stuff often enough that is wholesome, that is not detrimental to the civility of society, you gravitate to it. You know?
They wouldn't come back to you.
Well, if the people who control the airways play it often enough, people will get to like it, you know, just like any other thing.
Absolutely.
Just give it to them often enough and they will like it, you know.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you what, man. One year we had a song called, by a guy called Shaky. And that song became Road March in St. Lucia. And if you go back to listen to it now, you have to ask yourself why. It's because people heard it often enough.
They played it often enough, yeah.
But how did that happen? That can without the DJs. Without the people on the radio pushing it. So if you play stuff often enough, anything you play to people often enough, it'll grow on them.
Yeah.
Just give it to them every day, 10 times a day, and it will grow on them.
Yeah.
So if we do it with the music that does not promote gun violence and abuse of drugs, abuse of alcohol, and the music that does not denigrate our women and make our women objects of sex, it will grow, you know.
Yeah.
And an equal amount of money will be made.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, and I have a full appreciation.
Michael Jackson.
Go ahead.
Michael Jackson sold 34 million copies of I can't remember the name of the album now. That doesn't have anything about gun violence and that sort of thing, you know. It did not denigrate women, it did not promote use of drugs and so on. It sold 34 million copies.
Yeah.
And the music, look at Bob Marley. Look at Bob Marley. Bob Marley is still one of the biggest names in the music today. One of the biggest names. Look how long ago he died. Go back and look at the lyrics. Go listen to Bob Marley's lyrics.
Yeah. And
tell me which artist doing that same genre is as big as Bob Marley.
None.
None.
It may be for the...
Look at what he sang.
For the Bob and maybe more so the Michael Jackson example, Mr. Hinkson, it goes more to do with who controlled music then and what did they want the masses to listen to then. I have a full appreciation of the control mechanism you hinted to. Probably we bring you back a later date to discuss it because it's a full and intriguing discussion that must be had. Surprising to many, some of what happens behind the scenes. The artists, majority of them sing stuff that they've been to sing, and consciously or subconsciously, a lot of the DJs are riding with the flow and playing these songs because they find themselves just into the mix of it. consciously or unconsciously as well, subconsciously.
You see, it cannot always be a function of economics.
Yep.
Because
You're going to lose.
The way that kind of thinking impacts society is detrimental.
We will lose
You
who
understand?
we are.
We all have a shared interest in the growth and development of our people. So if we're going to be concerned only about the self-sufficient self and do things just so me, the individual, can make money, then where does it end? You know, many years ago, the Family Planning Association wanted to put up some condom vending machines in town. And it caused a lot of stir because the church was opposed it. Then the Minister of Education made a comment. And then I think there was something written in the newspaper and he was misquoted. So I wrote a song about it called Condom. And at the time, it was a very satirical kind of thing, just making fun of the whole mess that came out of the whole thing. I have had several reasons, and on several occasions told the DJs essentially don't play that song on the radio anymore, because the context now is very different. Because now we're dealing with AIDS. So everything has to be put in context. If every time they play it, I'll get my airtime and make money. But can I go on living life where I'm only concerned about myself and making money? That is not all right. So I've asked the DJs not to play that song. As a matter of fact, when I perform on the square on Sunday night, some people in the crowd were shouting for me to play that song. And I just pretended that I didn't hear, but that is a song I'll never play again. Because the context now is not appropriate.
It's not appropriate. Yeah. And you understand the responsibility that you have, as you rightfully said. All of us have a shared responsibility. Finally, Mr. Hinkson, your message, not just to musicians, but to the young people, the music that they let into their space, as we wind down. What do you say to us as a people now, where we are in our development and all the social challenges?
Well, I think we have preached to young people enough, you know. I think the people we have to talk to is the decision makers. So that the young people can be listened to sometimes, so that we can better plan for them. But to go back to your question, I want to tell them that they need to slow down. To reckless. I used to call Timothy's program often and talk about how reckless a society we are, you know. We're reckless with sex, we're reckless with the food we eat, we're reckless with alcohol, we're reckless with the minds of our youth. And so the youth have to wake up. But I think we, the adults, have a responsibility to shape their minds so that they can become committed to their own generation. Everything we're telling the youth is for us. You understand? We complain they do this because we don't like it. We want them to do this because we want it. We have to start to talk to them about shaping their minds and to being committed to their own generation. Because the future does not discriminate. It only accepts you as a representative of your past. So the young people must, of necessity, begin to have some meetings with themselves and determine what they want their future to be. But we must put the parameters in place so that when they determine what they want, when they determine that they want to be a Hinkson, they want to be a Darren Sammy, they want to be who else?
A Laverne Spencer.
I mean, so many other people that I can call. When they want to be that, we must put the measures in place, the parameters in place, so that they have an avenue towards that. We cannot have, I mean, look at the amount of crime we have in the country. Who's committing all this crime? A lot of young people, you know. we have to pay attention to the psyche of the country. I think on my last time we spoke, I told you that England is now looking at character education. So they look at honesty, self-development, integrity, and the whole thing of shaping the minds of our young people so that they're committed to their generation. And that is, I think, is crucial. I think that, and I told you also that we cannot continue to divorce development of character from our education system. I don't know many of my friends who grew up from any wealthy background. But what we had was character.
Character. Yeah.
So we did not gravitate towards crime. So crime, you know, what you and I deal crime and doing what is not civil and going against the grain of a civil society. Some young people just see it as a way of survival, a way of life. You know, so when I go into an area and I tell young people that, man, them drugs you're taking this, you have to stop that, man. I'm always aware, I'm asking them to be deviant in their environment. Because if the father is you, the mother is you, the uncle, the brother, I'm asking them to be deviant in their environment, you know, and that is not easy, because there are a lot of answers they can give me that can make me stuck, you know, and I'm aware of that, but I don't give up, you know. But hopefully, we, as the elders in the country, will begin to have a different kind of dialogue with the youth and begin to direct them in a way that they can succeed. Because we can't leave it to their own devices for them to do that, because a lot of what we're asking young people to do are functions of economics, like I say. When we had a pandemic, right? We set up a shutdown from Friday until Monday. You can't leave your house. That's a fun. So to you and me, we can just go and stock up and stay in our house. To the guy who lives in a little one-room thing, he has to leave there to go to a public facility to defecate. And he has to leave there every morning to go and buy a loaf of bread with maybe a tin of tuna fish. And we tell him he can't leave his house from Friday until Monday. These are things we have to think of, because
you're applying more pressure on the social fabric.
Second,
you're applying more pressure on the social fabric by virtue of forcing people towards making decisions solely on economics.
So when a guy tells you, listen, man, I have to go to the public facility, and he breaks the curfew, what are you going to do? Arrest him? Yeah. So we have to give a little more thought to how we deal with those who have fallen through the social cracks, especially our young people. I know one time I was threatened with being incarcerated because I opposed being a juror. But that's for another story, you know. Because I just think we're very caught up we fall in the American society, the American system, in that we're not thinking sufficiently about restorative justice. We're into punitive justice.
Punitive justice.
And that is not working.
Yep, absolutely. But that's another topic. We have time, all the time, my good man, for you and your contributions. A voice of wisdom. I want to thank you for coming on this morning, Mr. Honorable Hinkson.
Well, thanks for talking to me, man. Always a pleasure.
Our pleasure is always ours. Thanks for coming on to discuss this current situation, the role of music, how music can assist in being a gateway for our young people, how music impacts the social fabric of our nation, and development on a whole. Ronald Hinkson, a friend of the show and a concerned citizen. What stays with me now, it has to be a conversation, a dialogue, was his exact words, with the young people. The leaders, policymakers need to have a dialogue. Don't hand down things and expect to be accepted and implemented. Still lots to come on the platform. We have 22 minutes left officially unofficially we will get some extra time this morning. Let's bring on Prosper next, and then on my special guest, Cecilia's friend, telling an interview on the death of an inmate at Borderley. I have somebody at Borderley in management who normally links up with me every single morning on the platform, but when I hinted that we were going there, I haven't heard from my good friend at Borderley, but we're going there, and we're going there this morning. The inmate who passed away at Sparta when she was in custody of the state is actually an American citizen, and the Americans are coming here to find out exactly what's happening. We're still waiting on the post-mortem results, by the way. Prosper is back home from Canada. He comes on next, and then we close the show. We have some extra time this morning with Cecilia's friend.